If I asked you to close your eyes and describe the smell of a Blockbuster video, you wouldn't have to think about it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It was a specific mix of stale popcorn, industrial carpet cleaner, and warm plastic. It wasn't a pleasant smell, objectively speaking, but today, it's a scent that triggers a deeper sense of nostalgia than almost anything else from the 1990s. Because going to Blockbuster wasn't an errand, it was a ritual. For a solid 2 decades, this blue and yellow ticket stub was the gateway to your weekend. It was the thrill of the hunt, walking down the new release aisle, praying there was just one copy left behind the box art of the movie everyone was talking about. It was the arguments with your siblings over which Super Nintendo game to rent. It was the promise of a Friday night. But today, the empire is gone. 9,000 stores, 60,000 employees. A company once valued at over $8 billion, reduced to a punchline. A ghost of retail history. But the story of Blockbuster isn't just about Netflix killing the radio star. It's a story of corporate hubris, a business model built on hating your own customers, and a $50 million mistake that changed the entertainment industry forever. To understand the fall, we have to respect the rise. Because Blockbuster wasn't just a chain, it was a juggernaut. Founded in 1985 by David Cook, and later supercharged by waste management tycoon Wayne Huizenga, Blockbuster didn't invent video rental. They just industrialized it. While mom-and-pop shops had dark corners and dusty shelves, Blockbuster was bright, family-friendly, and used a computerized system to track inventory. At its absolute peak in the late 90s and early 2000s, a new Blockbuster store was opening somewhere in the world every 17 hours. They were ubiquitous. If you lived in America, you were statistically never more than a 10-minute drive from a Dropbox. They controlled 25% of the entire home video market. But behind those bright lights and friendly, "Be kind, rewind" stickers, the company was addicted to a very dangerous drug: the late fee. We all remember the anxiety. Keeping a movie one day too long meant paying a penalty that sometimes cost more than the rental itself. We joked about it. We complained about it. But for Blockbuster Corporate, this wasn't a bug. It was the feature. In the year 2000 alone, Blockbuster collected $800 million in late fees. That accounted for roughly 16% of their total revenue and nearly all of their profit margin. Think about that for a second. Their business model relied on their customers failing. They needed you to be disorganized. They needed you to forget. While they preached movie magic, their financials were dependent on penalizing their own user base. It generated massive cash in the short term, but it created a deep, simmering resentment in the customer base. We went to Blockbuster because we had to, but we didn't love them. We feared them. And one of those frustrated customers was a man named Reed Hastings. Legend has it, he was embarrassed about a $40 late fee for a copy of Apollo 13. Whether that story is 100% true or a bit of marketing mythology, the result was the same. He decided there had to be a better way. He started a little company called Netflix. The year is 2000. The dot-com bubble is bursting. Blockbuster is the undisputed king of media, and into their Dallas headquarters walks Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph, the co-founders of Netflix. At this point, Netflix isn't a streaming giant. It's a struggling DVD by mail service. They are bleeding money. They are desperate. They get a meeting with Blockbuster CEO John Antioco. Hastings makes a pitch. Netflix will run Blockbuster's online brand. In exchange, Blockbuster promotes Netflix in their stores. Antioco asks the million-dollar question: how much? Hastings looks him in the eye and says, $50 million. Barry McCarthy, the CFO of Netflix, who was in the room, later described the reaction. He said the Blockbuster executives tried not to laugh, but they couldn't help it. They literally laughed them out of the room. To Blockbuster, this was a joke. Why buy a niche mail-order company losing money when you have 9,000 stores printing cash? Now, It's easy to look back and call the Blockbuster executives idiots, but you have to understand the context. In 2000, the internet was slow. Streaming movies was science fiction. The idea that people would wait 3 days for a DVD to arrive in the mail seemed ridiculous compared to driving down the street on a Friday night. But Blockbuster suffered from what business analysts call the innovator's dilemma. They were so good at what they did, renting physical tapes in physical stores, that they couldn't see a future where that wasn't the center of the universe. They didn't realize that they weren't in the store business. They were in the entertainment convenience business. And the internet was about to become infinitely more convenient than a drive to the strip mall. Netflix killed the late fee. They introduced a subscription. You could keep the movie as long as you wanted. It was the exact opposite of Blockbuster's punitive model. And slowly, silently, the customers started to defect. By the mid-2000s, Blockbuster was fighting a war on two fronts. On one side, you had Netflix dominating the mail-order business. On the other, you had Redbox, low-overhead kiosks that rented movies for $1 a night. No store employees, no electricity bills, just a vending machine. Blockbuster was a dinosaur being hunted by mammals. In a panic, Blockbuster finally tried to adapt. In 2004, John Antioco launched Blockbuster Online. Then they launched Total Access, a brilliant program where you could rent a DVD online and return it in-store for a free rental. It was actually working. It was stealing subscribers back from Netflix. Reed Hastings actually approached Antioco again around this time, worried that Blockbuster might actually win. But it was too expensive. The program cost Blockbuster money they didn't have. An activist investor named Carl Icahn waged a war against the CEO, arguing they were spending too much on this digital nonsense and should focus on the stores. Antioco was fired. The digital initiatives were gutted. They doubled down on the brick-and-mortar stores just as the world was going digital. It was the final nail in the coffin. In 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. The collapse was staggering. It wasn't a slow fade. It was a cliff. Within a few years, those 9,000 stores were liquidated. The blue and yellow signs were torn down, leaving behind those distinctive label scars on the building's faded outlines of a giant that once ruled the world. Today, there is exactly one Blockbuster video left on planet Earth. It's in Bend, Oregon. It survives not as a rental store, but as a tourist attraction, a living museum to a bygone era. And its survival proves something important. We don't miss the late fees. We don't miss the scratched discs that wouldn't play. We don't miss driving to the store only to find out the movie we wanted was out of stock. What we miss is the shared experience. In the age of streaming, we sit alone, paralyzed by 50,000 choices, scrolling endlessly through thumbnails until we fall asleep. It's efficient, but it's lonely. Blockbuster forced us to make a choice. It forced us to leave the house. It forced us to talk to the clerk, to run into neighbors, to negotiate with our family. It was a tangible piece of our lives that simply vanished. Blockbuster didn't just sell movies, they sold us a Friday night. And that is something Netflix can never stream. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, hit that subscribe button for more retail history. And let me know in the comments, what was the last movie you ever rented? I'll see you in the next one.